Hello, my name is Ashley Nicole Green, and I'm the managing attorney with the Law Office of A. Green.
Hi, I'm John B. Henry III, attorney and counselor at law.
And I'm Alicia Lindsay Pottinger from the ALP Law Firm.
And we are Suite 130. We are three separate law firms together to support our state and local communities affected by Hurricane Harvey. Stronger Together is a series of videos focused on important legal topics in the wake of Hurricane Harvey, including FEMA claims, insurance claims, family law, and employment law issues.
All right, my name is Ashley Nicole Green, and let's go ahead and get started with the family law issues.
Okay, now, based on our experience in working with families, especially in family law related issues, what have been some of the things that have been coming up as of lately, such as what if a parent has not been able to get access to their child and get them back from another parent? What are some of the things that a parent could do?
So this has been an actual inquiry that my office has received as a result of Hurricane Harvey. One parent had taken the child through an evacuation route, and the other parent has not had access to that child since then and has not even been able to get phone access. And so if you find yourself in this situation, the first thing I would recommend that you do is immediately contact a private family law attorney, someone who practices family law, and go in and speak to them in a consultation or over the phone so that you can be able to take the necessary steps to be able to file what's called a writ of habeas, okay? In the family law realm, we refer to them as writ of habeases and not writ of attachment, okay? And basically, this document, what we call as attorneys, is a pleading or an instrument that you would file with the family law court, and you would attach to that also what's called an affidavit, basically detailing to the court the circumstances that have taken place where your child has not been returned to you. You would file that document with the court. In addition to that, you would be asking for the court to set the hearing for the judge to hear this particular matter for a future date after the other parent, or it could be a relative, it could be a friend, whomever has actual possession of that child. And that person would be bringing the child to the court house that date at that time for that particular hearing. And so after that party is served, then you would have went to the hearing. Most of the time, I would say in my experience, people always bring the child to these court hearings.
Yes.
This is a very serious matter, so people don't just ignore the when they're served by a sheriff,
Right.
of not bringing the child to the courthouse that day. And so the most important thing I think that I could give anyone about writ of habeas is that you need to make sure that when you get your hearing date, especially if you're doing this on your own, or especially if you're working with an attorney that does not practice family law, that the date that you get for your hearing date is the date that you would have actual possession and access to the child, okay? So for instance, if your hearing date is on a Thursday and maybe every Thursday the other parent has possession access with that child starting at 3 p.m. until Friday when school lets out, and your court hearing is maybe at 3:30 or something, then you're not going to be in a good position because at that moment you don't have possession access to that child. So those are just like little key tips that I think people need to remember with dealing with family law issues.
Absolutely, that's some very good information. What about if you have a situation where one parent's home was destroyed? What do you think the other parent should do, or vice versa?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, and I think one of the key points of my office and my mission, if you follow me, is that children are at the center of every decision. And I think that's what I would start with in telling a parent or telling parents what they should do, and that is to keep your child at the center of every decision that you make and really work with that other parent. The other parent is going through a difficult time and losing their home. They probably lost all of their belongings, and they don't need to be kicked while they're already down. So going and filing a modification and trying to take custody from that parent, it's probably not going to be a good atmosphere for your child anyways, and it's not going to be good for that other parent, probably psychologically, emotionally, physically, and everything else, and financially in addition to that. So work with that other parent. You guys could come to an agreement as parents. You have the right to do that. It's in your court orders. Your parents, you have the right to make these decisions, and maybe you and the other parent can decide that you would keep the child during the time that this parent is able to get back on their feet. And just make sure you have something in writing, so that way if there's any issues in the future, you can at least refer to that particular document. One thing that I would key you on is that just note that once that parent just gets on their feet, or maybe they just decide that they no longer want to go based off of this agreement that you guys have entered into, that they have the right then to revoke that, and you guys will go back to the order that's in place at the time. So just make sure you keep that in mind. If you feel that your child would be in danger by that particular agreement that you came to being revoked, and that it would not be in the best interest of your child to now go to a particular environment with that parent, maybe because they haven't gotten on their feet or things have gotten worse, then you should take steps. I would say then is the appropriate time to take steps to maybe file a modification. And myself and Elise here, we're both family practitioners, and we can definitely assist you with that.
John is just pointing to us because he doesn't like to deal with the family law issues.
Yes, so that's one of the, I think, the best advice I can give to parents during the time that there is someone losing their home.
So what if let's talk about the parent that pays child support.
Okay.
What if they lose their jobs? What should they do?
Well, the thing to remember is that, as John has stated, you should apply for unemployment through FEMA, especially if it is a result of this hurricane. And a lot of times, I'm sure parents, I get a lot of clients come in, they ask, I want my child support to be decreased, or, because I'm not working, or I'm not employed right now, what have you. But the thing to remember is that when you go into court, at that time you may not be working, but what they're going to do is they're going to base your child support most of the time, I would say, based on your income for the year.
Correct.
So if you have a paycheck stub that was from 2 weeks ago, they're going to base it off of your year to date from that, or your tax return. So I would say that the best advice I can give you is, instead of running down to the courthouse and trying to reduce that child support right now, is to just pay what you can based on what money you're getting in, whether that be from unemployment, whether that be from family members giving you money to maybe stay above water right now. Just give a little something, so that if the other parent, God forbid, they file an enforcement, you can at least have a defense to tell the court that you were trying to pay something and you did not have the means to maybe pay your $450 a month in child support that you're ordered to, but instead you were able to pay at least $150. And I think that would put you in a better position in the court's eyes.
Absolutely, because what you'll find is courts don't want to hear, I didn't send anything. If you sent something versus nothing, they know you have to eat, and so does the child have to eat, and so they're looking for something.
Absolutely.
What if another family member or one of the parents needs to give custody, we'll say, or conservatorship of their child based on the situation and circumstance to a family member? What would you recommend for them under this situation?
That's a really good question, and I think that is something that a lot of parents are going to be dealing with as they're in the recovery phase. And the best advice I can give you, the first point is, do not just get a piece of paper and write at the top of it guardianship. Myself, John, and even John, even though he doesn't really deal with family law issues, he sees that a lot as well. Right. And that is not going to be sufficient. You're going to want to get an actual document, which is what we refer to as a non-relative authorization form, a Texas non-relative authorization form. And in that you can specify how long this person is supposed to have your child, under what circumstances they're supposed to have your child, so that way they can go and maybe register the child in school. They can help make decisions for the child while you're not able to at this point. And that's going to be very helpful, because schools will need that. They'll need something to know that they're authorized to speak to this person, whether it be a family member or a friend or whoever. And the other document that I would highly recommend that you make sure you get your hands on is a HIPAA HIPAA release form. And that's going to be important, especially if the child, needs to go to the doctor, or the person needs to be able to get medical records or anything for the child. You want to make sure that they have that document in their hands so that they can be able to actually get that information.
That's great information for parents, and I know y'all can appreciate that.
Yes.
Anybody who's been through that situation where they need some help and need documents in place. So you can find there's some resources, look for them at the bottom of the screen or at the end of the video.
Yes, and we can definitely all help you with those documents, and we can help assist you in getting those documents to you as well. So, is there any other things that I missed before we wrap this thing up?
No, nothing.
Okay. Alrighty, thank you so much for tuning in with us today on this video regarding family law issues. Please make sure you like and share this so that others can have access to it as a resource. I'm Ashley Nicole Green, the Managing Attorney for the Law Office of A. Green.
I'm John B. Henry III, attorney and counselor at law.
And I'm Alicia Lindsay Pottinger at the AOP Law Firm. And remember,
We're stronger together.